I think there's one thing that all Manchester United fans can agree on. We might have disagreements over the manager, certain players like Bruno Fernandes, what our best starting 11 is, who we should sign, who we should sell. But I think there's one thing that every Manchester United fan wants, and that is the Glazers gone, and that is a full takeover. So whenever there is stories about United being sold to rich owners, the Glazers leaving, as a fan base, we lap it up. We want it. We dream of it. Even if we don't know the source of information, even if we don't know where it's come from, we see the story and we get that hope. We get that hope. Um, but the question is, could Manchester United be up for sale? Could the Glazers finally be leaving? Could a full sale be happening? Could Saudi investment be happening? Because that is what's being spoken about in the news today. And it's got a lot of Manchester United fans excited. And the guy that came out initially with this story is very well connected in Saudi sport. I think over 5 million followers, very well connected in Saudi sport, very well connected to those up in Saudi. And that report came out last night. Now, I almost made a late night roundup video last night. I didn't, but I almost did last night. I almost made a late night roundup video at 10:30 last night. And I just thought, you know what, let's wait till the morning. There's reports of, investors being close. There's reports of investment in Man United coming out from Saudi. But I said, how many times have we been told that this is going to happen and that's going to happen? And we wake up the next day and the story's been debunked. Well, it's not even the next morning. It's the next day, midday, 12:30, and the story's not been debunked. A story that came out last night that said, I'll wait till the morning because it'll be debunked in the morning right away if it's not true, has not been debunked yet. Not been debunked. That means it could be debunked in half an hour and this live stream could age really badly. That means it could be debunked tonight. But the fact that it's not been debunked says to me, could there be something more going on? So you might be wondering, Alice, what are you talking about? And if you are wondering that, you've been living under the rock if you've not seen the rumours. But obviously, there's reports coming out from what was believed to be a very good Saudi Arabian source about United and new investors. So let me dive into this. Ooh. So this is what the translated version says, because I cannot read Arabic. The best news I heard today is that Manchester United is now in an advanced stage of completing the deal to sell to a new investor. I hope he's better than the previous owners. Now, interesting thing. So this is a very, very well-connected Saudi source. So I think this is why people are going mad, is because it is a very well-connected Saudi source who's very involved in boxing and other Saudi-based sports. So I feel like people are going mad about it. Now, the interesting thing is he said advanced stage. I feel like if something's in an advanced stage, it has to go public because of the way that Manchester United is publicly traded. So that is the bit I take with a pinch of salt. Completing a deal to sell to a new investor, blah, blah, blah. Now, this is reportedly the sheikh or some sheikh or prince of Saudi Arabia that has a lot of money. Now, a few interesting things have been said in regards to this that I am going to read out. It obviously was said that Manchester United had a sale agreement between the Glazers and Ratcliffe of August 13th, 2025, meaning the Glazers had the right to fall Ratcliffe into a full sale at the minimum of 33 euros per share. Glazers could be negotiating a sale behind Ratcliffe's back, is what some people are suggesting. Now, I don't know, and I don't believe that the Glazers are negotiating a sale behind Ratcliffe's back because Ratcliffe's been very much speaking as if he's going to be here long term. But the information that's come out is because Manchester United are a public trading club, they actually have to provide an update about this. And Man United haven't provided an update about this yet. Also, apparently, the clause for full sale is now activated from August, so Sir Jim Ratcliffe has no power if the Glazers were to sell. So right now, if the Glazers were choosing to sell Manchester United over to Saudi Arabia, there's nothing that Sir Jim Ratcliffe could do about it. Since the 13th of August, the Glazers have had full power. The Ratcliffe can buy Manchester United for 4.23 billion if he wants, but if he doesn't, the Glazers can go and sell Manchester United to Saudi. So there is rumours and suggestions. Could the Glazers be doing the unthinkable and negotiating a sale behind Ratcliffe's back? Because it's a public traded company, nothing can stay secret or quiet for too long, which is why I expect an update on this very soon. But that is one interesting thing. Now, I am with Ginge here. I don't have hope. Unless Roman or Ornstein says, or Bloomberg, or The Times, or Matt Lawton, or someone with a bit of credibility comes out and says, yes, talks are ongoing, I'm taking everything with a pinch of salt. We've been told a million times before. That this is going to happen, that's going to happen, this sale's closed, that sale's closed, for nothing to happen. So it's one of those where I'm not very positive. I'd like this to happen. The news hasn't been denied. I mean, I think I think we'd all like Manchester United to be brought out and the Glazers to F off. But it is one of those where I don't see it happening. They're waiting to build a new stadium. They're waiting to do this. They're waiting to do that. I just don't, I feel they're not acting like a club that's planning to sell to Saudi. Man United aren't acting like a club. Sergeant Ratcliffe coming out in an interview saying, we'll give Amorim 3 years and talking about a new stadium. This, for me, isn't giving off the vibe that we're expecting Saudi to buy us. We're not talking like that. They aren't selling because they're waiting for a new stadium to be built and the regeneration of Manchester. Maybe they're looking for an investment from Saudi. It never clarified if it was a full sale or maybe just Saudi investors to go in the stadium. Alex said, hard to get hopes up. We've been here before and originated from seemingly just one Saudi source. I agree. Now, I will clarify. I, would love Man United to get some investment in. I'd love the Glazers to go. But until we actually got something from Romano or Ornstein, we've been here before from Saudi and Qatari sources in the past for nothing to happen. So I'm not getting my hopes up either. Do you think there's a chance? I mean, there's a chance. It's not been denied. But I think we have to see what comes out today. Public traded company, and we know how the clubs work. Slightest things get leaked. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. I think it'll be really interesting to see what comes out later today. Want to believe it and be rid of Glazers and Ratcliffe, but mustn't get hopes up about further validation. And I think Steve is spot on. I want to believe it. I want to believe the story. I want to get excited, but you just can't get hopes up. It's giving Sheikh Yassim 2.0 when he was linked to the takeover and nothing happened. The amount of stories we got, like, guys, it's Qatar. I think Rio Ferdinand came out and said that he had exclusive info that Qatar were close. But do you know what? The Qataris were lying through their teeth. This is the problem. Like, a lot of the journalists weren't lying. There was Qatari sources that just kept going and telling people this and that because I think they liked the clicks and the attention. Qatar did lie a lot in regards to the takeover for the clicks and for the attention. But it was frustrating because we kept getting the story like Qatar is close, Qatar's going to win, and then we had Sergeant Ratcliffe come in and we didn't get a full sale. So I think with United and takeovers and news and investment, we've learned as a fan base we have to take everything with a pinch of salt because we get lied to. We get lied to a lot by the media, and it's not necessarily the media lying, it's the sources that brief the media lying because people use Man United for a few clicks. I thought told something behind the scenes that Sheikh Yassim was never that serious about buying Man United. And, they were just really enjoying the fact that they were being linked to buying United and it clicks off that. Now, I don't know how true that is, but this was someone I spoke to and this, I speak to a lot of people. But it's like, it's hard to know what to believe. I mean, I generally believe that Qatar were interested in buying United, but the Glazers' intention was never full sale. I think the Glazers' intention was Ratcliffe's route, so they could still remain in charge of United and get money out of United, but get the investment needed for Manchester United to stay put. Because I think the Glazers had run us so badly for so many years that we're in a position where the Glazers actually needed someone to invest money in United because they weren't going to do that themselves, because they'd run the club down to the ground. So I always felt that the Glazers never wanted the full sale initially, but there was those rumours about Qatar, and we've been linked to this and that so many times in the past for nothing to happen. So it is very difficult to get hopes up when it comes to things like this, but I think we all as a fan base just want a full sale or some kind of advancement. It would be nice to see. Glazers, please get out of the club. You're dreaming too much. These Glazers are not going to leave anytime soon. Investment equals more depth of money we have to pay back, more confusion over ownership. I mean, there is negatives to it, but yeah. I mean, I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to be positive in the sense of, look, please, Glazers go. But I'm trying to be realistic, and I don't want to be like, guys, this is the end of the Glazers, this is the end of Ratcliffe, we're getting Saudi. I'd be lying to you guys if I was acting like that. So that's why I'm more negative, because I'm skeptical. I want to believe it. I'd like this to happen, but when with the Glazers selling Man United, it's like, okay, right now, the Glazers could be planning to sell Manchester United to Saudi. The Glazers could be planning to sell Manchester United to Saudi right now. We haven't got official confirmation of that, but they could be. But in my head, the Glazers, I just feel like they're never going to sell. It's like, if any story, any suggestion of the Glazers selling, we get excited. Like, okay, they could sell to Saudi. They could technically go behind Jim back and sell the club to Saudi, and they could do this and do that, and we could finally be rid of the Glazers. Like, that's amazing in my head. But then I remember, are these Glazers going to sell? Until it comes out that the Glazers want to sell from the Glazers' mouth, I'm so like, what's the word? Skeptical about any report about that. Do not see the benefit of Qatar losing that process publicly. I think they were just held firm and would not go above a certain price. I think the Glazers were like, we either rip off Qatar as much as we can and want something ridiculous, or we get to still own the club and Jim Ratcliffe gives us the money we need for the club to stay afloat. It was a win-win for the Glazers. They either got a ridiculous amount from Qatar, which was way more than the club was worth, or they get what Ratcliffe investing a load of money in. If it goes wrong, all the fans turn on Ratcliffe and not the Glazers. So, and they can still, and if it goes well, then they can make a load of money out of Man United, and the Glazers and anyone else have done all the work. What happened is the Glazers run Manchester United so badly that the money Man United was making was nowhere near as good. The Glazers, when they first came into Manchester United, could take as much money as they wanted and the club would still be good. Because the club had been run badly for the 12 years since Sir Alex Ferguson had left, we're no longer in a point where the Glazers can just take this amount of money, and that amount of money. The Glazers realised they need to invest into United because they'd neglected the stadium so much. They realised they need to invest in the stadium. They need to do this, they need to do that. Because the Glazers didn't want to invest in the stadium or do this and do that, they then put the club up for sale, but they said open to minority share. Jim Ratcliffe comes in, he's got the 200, 300 million cash needed to go into Manchester United to fix this, this and this. But for the Glazers, they still get to be at United and take out dividends later on, while someone spent their money doing what the Glazers should have done years ago. So it was a win-win for the Glazers, this whole situation. But it feels like they'll never sell. Like, that's the worry, that they'll never sell, that we'll be stuck with them forever. That is the big worry. Just gonna take a sip of water, and then I want to get into a few more stories in regards to United. I've got a bit of a sore throat at the moment, so I do apologise if my voice is a little bit on the croaky side. So, yeah, it has been like 14 hours since that story came out, and no one at United's denied it. Man United are still not denying the Saudi news. Now, I was expected this to be denied by Ornstein and Romano at 9 a.m. today, and as of now, not a single credible source has denied this news about United and Takeover. So, that in itself is encouraging. That in itself is encouraging in the sense of, okay, none of these Saudi reports are being ignored, but none of them are being confirmed either. They're not being ignored, they're not being confirmed either. So, yeah. Let's dive into some other news. Let's dive into some other updates in regards to United. I'm not sure if you're aware, but Manchester United have appointed somebody to come into the club today. So this was said by Romano, and I'm not going to pretend I know who this is, but Manchester United have agreed to appoint Amish Manek as the new director of football. Former Arsenal director joins Manchester United from Brentford. Manek will oversee the running of Carrington HQ, as reported by Sammy Mockbell. Oh, sorry, I'm about to sneeze there. Sorry. So we've appointed somebody as the director of football operations. Former Arsenal director joins United. Now, I'm not going to act like I know loads about this guy or who he is and what he does. I would guess I would probably just have to do my own research. But he's got experience at Arsenal. He's got experience at Brentford. It's another piece to the Man United puzzle. So let's see what happens there. But, I mean, there's been a lot of reports about Carrington and the academy needing this and that. But I don't know if he's what they need. But that was a report coming out there. So let's dive into what else Ratcliffe's had to say. So right now, Ineos aren't acting, and Man United and the Glazers aren't acting like a club that's going to sell to Saudi. We're appointing a new person here, we're appointing a new person there, we're talking about new stadium, we're talking about giving Ratcliffe's talking about giving Amorim 3 years. We're not really talking right now like a club that has plans to sell or all of this and all of that. But I want to dive into the news and some of the comments from Ratcliffe on Amorim. I'm going to get my glasses as well because I can't see and my eyes are really itchy. I think I'm just coming down with like a bug or something. But my glasses are so dirty. I can't even see the screen. But it was said that Jim Ratcliffe on whether this means he intends to give 3 years to Amorim. He said yes, 3 years because things don't happen overnight. Jim Ratcliffe was asked that Amorim needs 3 years to demonstrate he's a good coach, and yes, 3 years because things don't happen overnight. Well, we're a year into Amorim, so that is 2 years technically now. And there's a mixed response to this. Some Manchester United fans are really happy that Jim Ratcliffe's going to give Amorim 3 years because they feel that, a manager needs 3 years to succeed at Manchester United, and we need to stop being reactionary as a fan base and ask to sack managers every time things goes wrong. Some Manchester United fans are really happy. They think 3 years is exactly what Amorim needs to succeed. They think that we have to give Amorim 3 years before we judge him. La la la. Most Man United fans aren't happy, and I'm in the not happy bit. Now, do I think if we finish 17th this season that Amorim's still going to be in a Man United job? No. Jim Ratcliffe is coming out and saying publicly he backs Amorim and publicly he wants to give Amorim 3 years. But let's be honest, if we lost our next 4 games in a row, Amorim would go. He would be sacked. Romano said that if we got battered by Sunderland, Amorim would be sacked. So while Jim Ratcliffe will come out and say we plan to give Amorim 3 years this and that is the plan. The plan is to give a manager 3 years because we know that a manager really needs 3 years to rebuild this club, and it's not an overnight project. But the manager has to earn 3 years. People talk about Arteta. Oh, but Arteta should have been sacked. Look how bad he was. Arteta was bad at Arsenal, but he finished 8th and won an FA Cup. Yeah? Sir Alex Ferguson, it took him a while to win stuff at Man United, but he came second in his second season. Okay? We're talking about Sir Alex had time, Arteta had time, we need to give Amorim time. Yes, but the manager needs to earn time. If Amorim comes 6th or 7th this season, he's probably earned himself another season. If Amorim comes 15th this season, with 1 game a week, with the squad he has, with the investment he has, he's not earned himself another season, and he would be sacked. I genuinely believe that Jim Ratcliffe can come out and talk about giving Amorim 3 years all he wants, but if we have a crap season this year, he will be sacked. They're hoping we don't have a crap season. They're hoping he turns it around. And if he turns it around and he shows progress, he will be given another year. And look, Man United, I'm fed up with this cycle of sacking managers. I do feel like sometimes you have to give a manager 3 years to succeed. But we need to see something to back him. We need to see progress. If Amorim has 15th this season, that's no progress from last season. And for me, there's no reason to give him a 3rd year if he's shown no progress in a 2nd year. Sir Alex Ferguson's 2nd year was a huge bit of progress on his 1st year. If Amorim doesn't show progress this season, for me, he's got to go. But if Amorim does show progress this season, then you give him a 3rd season. For me, I'm all for giving managers 3 years. I think it takes a manager 3 years to really get Man United where they need to be. But the manager has to earn that 2nd year, and he has to earn that 3rd year. And if we come 15th, Amorim has not earned that 3rd year, and he's very lucky to get that 2nd year. That's how I look at it. So right now, I think that, Amorim is safe because Ineos have brought in Amorim. They want him to do well. They want him to succeed. They've given him what they think he needs to succeed. And they're going to give him a bit more time because it's too early to judge him this season. We get to December time and we're 15th. Amorim ain't safe, and they won't be looking at giving Amorim 3 years if it looks like we're going to get relegated. So a lot of people are upset about this. Some people are happy about this. I think, it's nice to be able to give a manager 3 years and say, look, we're going to give you time, because I do feel like that's something that we haven't done enough of, is give managers time. But the manager has to earn time, and Amorim has not earned that time. Amorim has not earned that time. Sir Alex Ferguson had many years. This is why we've got to give Amorim years. It's what people are saying. People keep talking about the amount of time Sir Alex Ferguson got and why we've got to give Amorim time. Sir Alex Ferguson, came 2nd or 3rd in his 2nd season, and he earned that time. He won a trophy as well. You look at Amorim. He's so far 15th and he's lost the final to Tottenham. He's got to earn the time. If Amorim comes 7th, he's probably earned more time because that's progress from last year. But if he comes 15th, he hasn't. I'm all for giving managers time. I've said it multiple times. I'm all for giving managers time. Arteta got time, Sir Alex got time, but you've got to earn that time. He can say whatever he wants, but if it's falling apart, they'll get rid. Yeah, some people are crying. Some people are upset about this. Like, how can he say this? How can he say this? If honestly, if Amorim looks like he's going to get us relegated, he will be sacked. That they will not give Amorim 3 years if it's bad. 3 years can't win 2 games in a row. They're not going to give Amorim 3 years if it's bad. They want to give Amorim 3 years. They want to give it time. This is the manager they've invested in. This is the manager they've sat 10 on for. They're going to give Amorim a lot of time. Some other clubs would have already sacked Ruben Amorim by now. But 3 years, he has to earn it. Some people want to give Amorim the full season and see how it goes. Other people think Amorim should be sacked now and the manager should come in to get the best out of the squad. There's a lot of mixed opinions on Amorim. That's the thing, be it Klopp, Arteta, etc. If not best finish at first, there is something to build off in the project. Yeah. So even with managers like Klopp and Arteta that got time, their second season or third season was significantly better than the season before, and their lowest finish was like 8th. Like, there's a difference between finishing 8th and 15th. Too much money at stake and way more pressure and competition in the Premier League compared to all those years ago as well, which is why it's harder to give managers time than it used to be. So we've also got to remember that. People need to realise that Ferguson getting a few years to get it right was in the 1980s. Football's a ruthless business now. This team seems dead. That's the thing. People keep talking about, but we gave Fergie this amount of time. We should give Amorim 3 years. We should give Amorim 3 years if he shows progress and he shows that he deserves 3 years and he's shown that he's improving the team. Then we give him 3 years. But football is a ruthless business. You're right. It's different now. Teams can't afford to sit and wait 5 years for a manager to succeed because they might miss out on European football for 3 of those years and lose a lot of money. So, yeah, there is talk of obviously Ruben Amorim being given 3 years by Ineos, but I think it's performance-based because the system's not working. If we lose to Liverpool and we lose to Palace, the pressure's back on the manager. And I honestly think he could go by Christmas time if we don't go on a good run. Look, if we struggle, the guy goes, come on now, I own... what? Our own jobs. If you're pulled underperforming, you get pulled up. Other clubs have sacked managers by now. Don't fully know what you mean, but I think the point you're trying to make is Graham Potter came into West Ham after Man United appointed Amorim. Graham Potter, since he was appointed, picked up more points than Ruben Amorim in that same time period last season, and he's been sacked, and West Ham have replaced him. I assume that's what you're trying to refer to. Other clubs have sacked managers by now. Yeah, other managers were appointed after Amorim and already been sacked, like Graham Potter. I'd like Amorim to succeed. I don't want to sack a manager. I don't want to go for another manager. I'd like Amorim to succeed, but if things are bad this season, he should be sacked. If he shows progress, good. But if things are bad this season, he should be sacked. Fergie got 11th then 2nd, and I think 2nd is what allowed Fergie to stay in his job longer. He then did get 11th and 13th, but then he got 6th then 2. Fergie showed something in the second season to get behind him. Will Amorim show that in his second season? We'll have to wait and see. If Amorim comes second, I'd give Amorim the full third season, 100%. Do you think Amorim can succeed? I think he can succeed because he's shown at Sporting he's a good manager and he can win trophies and this and that. But I think for Amorim to succeed at Manchester United, he needs to be able to adapt. The best managers, and René Mullerstein said this, the best managers have their system, but if their system isn't working, they adapt the system to make sure it suits the players they have. And that's what Amorim needs to do. Amorim needs to be more adaptable. That's what I think. Alice, do you think the Glazers are actually going to sell us? No. I mean, look, the news about Saudi has not been denied. And there has always been rumours that Glazers do want to sell Manchester United. And because August 13th was the final day that was the final day until the Glazers can say, you know what, we want a full sale. It's possible, but I don't see it happening. It's possible the Glazers have gone behind Ineos's back and are now looking for full investment, full sale. But I don't see it happening, if I was going to be honest. But as of August 13th, Jim Ratcliffe can buy Manchester United permanently for a certain fee. But Jim Ratcliffe is not doing that. When I say buy them permanently, I mean full sale. Let me actually get this on the screen. I feel like I'm explaining things really badly here. Reminder, per terms of sale agreement between Ratcliffe and Glazers, since August 13th this year, the Glazers have had the right to force Ratcliffe into a full sale at a minimum of €33 per share. So as of August 13th, the Glazers, if they want to do, could force Ratcliffe into buying the full club, which is $4.23 billion. Possible the Glazers could be negotiating a sale behind Ratcliffe's back. Basically, what the situation is as of August 13th, the Glazers can look to sell the club permanently, and that way, if that is the case, then the Ineos have an opportunity to buy the club at $4.23 billion, and if they decide they don't want to buy the club or they can't do that, then the Glazers would sell to someone else. That is sort of the situation explained there. The Glazers will never sell Man United, especially now with changes. I just don't see them selling it. If Ineos is talking about giving Amorim 3 years, if they're talking about building a new stadium, they're talking about this, they're talking about that. We're not talking like a club that plans to sell, if I'm going to be honest. Guys, in terms of other news, obviously we know that Jim Ratcliffe is going to give Amorim 2 more seasons, but as I said, if it's really bad, will he? Probably not. He wants to give Amorim time. There has been reports that the academy has slipped at Manchester United, and Ratcliffe is not happy about this, and he wants Man United to produce some more academy top talents, which I agree with, but we have produced a great talent, and the current manager won't play him in Maino, and that Bruno and to Saudi, nothing is advanced. Bruno is determined to put everything into Manchester United right now. There was rumours of Bruno going to Saudi. But listen, people, I'm a bit tired and I feel like I'm not making full sense when I'm trying to explain things today. So I'm probably going to wrap up the live stream here. But the point of this video was there is rumours of Saudi investment, Saudi takeover. It could technically be a full takeover if the Glazers wanted that. I just don't see them doing that. One to keep an eye on. It's not been denied. It's been 14, 15 hours since the news come out, and it's not been denied. There's also talk of, Ratcliffe saying out of his mouth that he wants to give Amorim 3 years. Let's see. Does that mean Amorim's super safe? I think Amorim's pretty safe then, but I think if we lose a load of games, I think Amorim will go and be given way less than 3 years. Anyway, thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm going to redirect you over to Never a Foul. See you next time. Bye.